mindset in terms of possibly building on that this season?
Yeah, we got it wrong with the new regulations.
What is going on, peddlers? This is nuts. I didn't realise it was so early, and I am late. But you know what? I digress. We have a W15 reveal, and they're talking about it. Let's listen in now. I don't know what to think initially, man. This bonkers.
Wasn't so bad.
Oh, I don't even want to hear about Toto's blast. I'll be honest with you. The time for that has gone. Stop with the talking. Although they've probably done that. The reveal seems very minimalistic with that in mind, doesn't it?
And be at the forward part of that group in the same
yeah. Let's have a look at the car, man, because jeez, I don't even know what to make of it. Oh, I'm sorry. Listen, this is an impromptu one, so my scheduling was way off. I just figured out how dare I? It would be remiss of me not to react to this.
And talking about the challenges, you've been very honest about them, especially in recent times.
What about the car?
In terms of the team, what's the approach to possibly overcoming those?
Black and silver, so they've combined both. I don't hate that.
You look inwards. What is it that we got wrong? Why is it? Why?
Interesting to see the body language down that Lewis has signed his contract. That's the one thing that I've missed out on. I haven't quite looked at that just yet. For you watching Good, I apologise. Super impromptu. I've got a cheeky gap in the schedule with the 9 to 5, so I didn't intend to do this one, but we have ourselves a W15. What am I noticing in the first instance? It looks like they've got that cheeky overbite that Dr. Hobbs keeps talking about. The piece underneath the side pod. They have side pods this time, thank God. Let's rectify the instability issues that Lewis and George has been complaining about at the apex. But go wide, pan out. Let me see the body language of Lewis, man. I want to see he's a Ferrari man now.
The focus through the whole winter training is first getting the team back to where we once were. And I think we've had this difficult couple of years. You can't even say this stuff
for us. Now, Lewis. Can't toe the party line again, mate. You're off to Ferrari next year.
As Toto mentioned.
We're going to put Mercedes back where they need to be. Are you? Are we really? Is that what we're going for? How are you going to do that next year, Lewis, when you're in
the car, maximizing
a red car?
Practice, even just the one lap we might get in the rain today.
He's so good, isn't he?
George and I a bit of a feeling.
He's so good. You almost believe him, and he's talking this stuff. Really good at towing the party line. Is Mr. Lewis Hamilton? But we have ourselves a car. Scan out the car. You know what? I'm gonna, while they're talking away and yappering, I'm gonna try and get my hands on a cheeky render because I want to see. They'll have push rods at the back, won't they? 100%. Only because they're the Wirtz car and Aston Martin are.
Across the line without all of those people in the background working.
Aston Martin shares certain components, don't they, with the Mercedes? So it would be remiss, disingenuous, impossible even of Aston Martin to have push rods at the back. Push rod suspension that is at the back. A Mercedes not follow seat. They share gearbox, suspension, bits and bobs at the back, don't they?
Massively important, as we've touched on. We hit the ground in 2022.
God, I'm excited, man.
We've learned so much as a team, and we've got such an amazing team. So many people,
for being
2,000 strong people across Brackley and Brixworth. So many people there are winners and champions.
George has got that twinkle back in his eyes, hasn't he? Right, let me try and get a cheeky render up here.
And I think that combination brings this fire within, and everybody's just so excited, motivated, working so hard.
What about this car, eh?
We've seen all of the drawings. We've been in the wind tunnel. We've been driving it in the simulator. We've been seeing the design.
All right, so let me say this about the car before I bring it up.
Screen down the side and
I'm not sure
to the race car.
I like this car aesthetically. But does that even matter, really? If it's fast, no one will care about the mixed livery and the bloody silver and the black at the bottom. But
you can hear it in your voice.
Look at the flipping exhaust. Oh my gosh, the back piece looks bonkers. They've departed from what they had.
Anticipation.
Down, George.
I think when you arrive to around 3, 4 or 5, you've got an idea.
There's some interesting bits and bobs, isn't there? So you've got what you'd expect from the front. You guys can't see what I'm talking to, so let me bin off these guys. I'll leave them talking in the background. But you want to see a
but you don't know what your rivals have achieved. Have they made a step forward? Have they made any mistakes? Are we going to leap forward? Are there going to be cars from behind who are going to make an unexpected jump? So this is the time of the year where everybody's sat in anticipation, but all you can do is look at yourself in the mirror, maximise everything you can do, keep on working,
Oh, look at Mr. George Russell. King George Russell, first of his name.
Final question to yourself.
Final question, is this what we're going for minimalistically? Just no talk, more action, and I don't hate that. The time for talk for Mercedes is done.
That is predictable, that has lots of downforce.
Pan out though, camera. Let's see the body language, por favor. Lewis is going to be a Ferrari man next year, and I want to see them interact. None of the a massive departure from the glitz of glamour. But you remember last year's one where it was like Naomi and it was Natalie Pink, like it was all glitz and glamour, lots of talking. We're ushering in the near it. The time for talking is done. This is a departure as far as like the tone of the launch at the very, very least. Look at this. Super quick. No long thing.
Well, unfortunately, that is just about all.
Oh, look at that.
Shortly, as we alluded, George and Lewis will be shaking down the W15 here at Silverstone, hopefully for more than just one lap, but we'll wait and see. You can follow that, by the way, on the Mercedes F1 social media channels. And so all that's left for me to say is roll on 2024.
Look at that. Very, very quick. And I don't hate the fact that it was super quick. I'll be honest with you. How many have we got? 20 of you guys in now, 17 if you're watching concurrently. Thank you so much for joining in on this very, very impromptu, poor logistics from Cameron. But again, I thought I was going to be in the midst of meetings, and I'm not. So I thought I'd jump on here for a cheeky 20-25 minutes catch up on the W14 launch. Defender of Logic. What happened if the car is a monster? Would Lewis have made a mistake? Of course he would have, and that's the very real risk. But sometimes, Defender, I think sometimes you got to do a risk. A risk. What's the word? A reward to risk calc. And I've said a couple of times on here, if Lewis goes across to Ferrari, there are no guarantees in this sport. You might be in a championship winning car 1 year, 2020, and then a car that's, or 2021 even, and then a car that's massively adrift of the pace the next year. There are no guarantees in F1 nor high level sport. So I've said this a couple of times. What's going on, Andrew? I hope you're good. I've said this a couple of times, and I'll say it again. If there are no guarantees, let's assume that you're in a losing car. If that's your assumption, I can't hate Lewis Hamilton for wanting to live out his dreams, right? And go and drive a couple of years in the red car on the assumption that you're probably going to be in a losing car. Listen, now, if they can turn it round and they have a car that's fantastic, then cool beans, will take that, chalk that up to the game. But if the probabilities, as I think it is, Scuderia Ferrari are going to be travailing, lagging behind Red Bull for the next couple of years, everyone is going to be Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, potentially, then why not go and spend some time in that Ferrari car? Right, let's have a look at this car. What stands out? Peddlers, 86 if you're watching concurrently, it's Techie. What's going on? Boy, Jimmy, Ali. Looks basic at first glance, says Ali. Oh my gosh, Kenny, what's happening? What do I think of the car? Was on another stream. I know I've put this stream out super late and I apologise. What do I think about the car? All right, let's deal with the aesthetics first. I don't like the mix and blend of the colours. I'd rather it was either silver with carbon fibre highlight / tonnage or black with silver. I like a car that's predominantly one colour, a la Ferrari in 2021, right? The dark red with the black. This year I feel like they've messed it up with too much yellow. It's a mix and mash, and I feel like this car is a little bit of a mix and mash as well. Like, what is it? Is it black? Is it silver? Are we red? Have we got in it? Like, and then if I'm going to be super critical, fonts of these sponsors. I mean, Ferrari is a lesson in how not to do the sponsor font, right? The bigger the font, the more clumsy the car looks for me, and the Petronas is massive. Like, I don't know. Of course, sponsors aren't going to pay you the big bucks if they can't see their sponsorship name, right? If there's no name on there and it's not bright and visible for all to see, then nobody's going to... What's the point in paying sponsorship money in the first place? But I will say this. I don't think it's not the prettiest. Even the Ineos, it's like a... You know what I'm getting from this, guys? Those of you who've been watching for a long time, I'm getting Minardi vibes. Check out Minardi on Google. You know, Minardi was like black and red, and it was like a mix mash of car. And this is what that car is giving me. Not to do any disrespect to the W15, because the Minardi was not a great car, but it just feels a bit mixed. unmatched. However, that's all lost in the roundings, right? If this is a good car, if this W15 car can take it to the likes of Red Bull and McLaren in a way that they haven't been able to do over the past 24 months, then nobody's going to remember what it looks like, eh? Nobody will care. If this is fast, which I'm hoping it will be, then who gives the monkeys? And that is going to be the Aesop's fable, the clincher or the deal breaker in this thing. So let's look. Is it going to be fast? Who knows? There's no telling, eh? This is all conjecture and speculation. Who knows? Like that, there is no telling. But there are a couple themes in this livery launch season that we want to bear in mind, right? So let's go through it technically. And remember, I'm by no means listen, check out a Dr. Obbs or a Bryson. They can break it down technically. I might try and have one of them on the channel in the next couple of weeks so we can talk technicals and what does this all mean. But themes, here's what we want to look out for. Everyone switch across, and bearing in mind for table setting, Red Bull, saying this to Baxty just a couple of minutes ago, and Shez, Red Bull have established over the last 12 months that there is an apex predator, a modus operandi, a solution, a best fit solution for this current set of rules and regs. You've seen it. You've had a glance at Checo Perez's underbelly, or the underbelly of his car, or even the Venturi tunnels, because he's crashed it multiple occasions, particularly at Monaco, and they've had to heist it up. So we see what fast looks like, and again, broadly what that looks like is a malleable chassis that operates in a stable way regardless of ride height. It's ground effect era, remember, and long gone are the days where you can just stick on downforce. The bulk of your downforce, efficient downforce cars are going to maximize and optimize for the underbelly. The Venturi tunnels are going to do the bulk of the work. Okay, and how do you optimize that airflow going underneath the car? So the first portion, you'll see that all of these cars have this now. Before, the front portion of the wing, see this tippy point of the front wing, like the nose, that was tethered to the wing. Now, in fact, it doesn't even look like Mercedes have done it. Oh no, that's the first negative box. Then again, I'm gauging it by what everybody else has done, because over the past 24 months, I feel like Mercedes have done, they've been divergent, right? They've been keen to go the other way. But now I think the apex predator of design philosophies, the answer to the regulatory question as of 2023 is presenting itself. We've seen how quick Red Bull are and what they're doing, that they have a platform fundamentally that's aerodynamically efficient, which means that they can sacrifice a lot of downforce and be super quick on the straights, leveraging DRS, right? Because their package inherently is fundamentally aerodynamically efficient. They don't need all these sticky on bits. It all comes from the Venturi tunnels underneath. I'm concerned though, guys and girls, by the fact that Mercedes have done something different with their front nose. You guys can look at all the other liveries, and the nose is separate. It's almost like the nose and the wing are tiered. So the nose kind of juts above the wing, and then you've got a gap. And that apparently is to make sure that the airflow underneath the car, it's to optimize for that all-important airflow through the Venturi tunnels. Mercedes don't have that, do they? Oh no, you can see what I'm talking about here. Look. You see what I'm on about? They don't have that. Unless I'm missing something. Is that a gap there between the nose? Oh yeah, the front wing is kind of it's contoured, is it? That's weird. That's niche. That's a little bit different. I'm hoping that between that, there is a gap, isn't it? I missed it, peddlers. I'm apologising. I'm reacting to all of this in real time. So there is a gap between the front wing and the nose, and that gives me a bit of solace. However, they've gone for a different approach, right? Nobody else has got this weird contoured wing. What's that massive dip? That's going to be a huge talking point, isn't it, over the next couple of weeks? What does that mean? What does it do? Is that optimizing for the airflow through the Venturi tunnel? I hope so. It better be. What else? All right, push rods at the back should be. We can't see from here. Look at this back piece, though. It's weird. You guys have seen the early pictures of the Red Bull car. In this back piece, just by where the Ineos. You remember last year they had these like gun barrels, didn't they? Now they don't have them any longer. But when you see the pictures of the Red Bull, they do. What's going on there? And again, many people have joked that Adrian Newey was looking. There's pictures famously going around of Adrian Newey perusing the Mercedes W14 last year, because again, he's always keen to learn. There will be lessons to be learned from even the slower cars. And Adrian Newey, the legend, has picked something out, hasn't he? So just towards this back portion of the car, just underneath the Ineos, last year, you remember, there were these massive gun barrels. I should try and get this up, actually, so you guys can see. Now, Mercedes have been that on their latest design. Red Bull have stolen it. Red Bull have that now. Mercedes don't. Although, again, you've got to caveat all of this, what I'm saying, with the fact that some of these might... but it would be typical of Red Bull not to reveal their hand until Bahrain quali. They've done it before, right? Mercedes did it a couple of years ago when they launched a car that had side pods, and then ultimately in qualifying they launched a car that had no side pods. There's always going to be an element of skullduggery to these launches. Why, if you're a serious F1 team, would you reveal your hand in kind only then for the rest of the teams to go and to give them the lead time for them to copy you before quali is the in, but launching is good. Yeah, launching is valuable, but why would you reveal your hand sooner than necessary? You wouldn't. It's a nonsense. 243 of you watching concurrently, do me a favor and smash the like. I appreciate each and every single one of you to the moon and back. Push rods will be at the back 100%. We can't see from this pic, but I think they would have done, but there's advantage to the push rod setup. Notably, and remember, airflow is really, really important. Venturi tunnels, 2 legs to the airflow puzzle. Venturi tunnels underneath. And again, that story is told by this gap between the front wing and the nose cone. Nail that. Tick for Mercedes. At the back, you know that Lewis and George have been talking about instability at the rear and on the apex for the longest time, and that's because the airflow, because of this lack of side pods, no more barge boards even for this set of rule and regs. And again, their airflow has been distorted, not been optimized in terms of getting it to the rear and the wing beam and allowing it to do its good work. Hence why these guys have been experiencing instability at the rear, particularly on turning and on at the apex each and every single time. Lots of dirty air, not so much clean airflow over the side pods and to the wing beam. How do you solve for that? Push rod setup at the back. They will have mirrored exactly what Aston Martin have done. You can't see clear at this, but they need clean, optimized airflow going to that wing beam, don't they? Otherwise, these guys are doomed to experience the same mistakes that they've been experiencing for the past 24 bloody months. Dirty air rather than clean going to that wing beam, it not being optimized, and then all of a sudden you're struggling. You don't know what you're getting on turning, right? Maybe it will understeer, maybe it will oversteer, because you need it to be stable. A chassis can't have it bloody moving up and down and pussing and whatever, because you don't know what you're going to get. Life is like a box of chocolates, or at least it has been for these Mercedes drivers over the past 24 months. And that's not a good look. If you want the likes of George Russell and Lewis Hamilton to be able to optimize, to be able to get 10 tenths out of the car, the one thing that they need when they're about to turn in is a stable platform, one that they can read and predict and push. If you don't have that, then you don't have anything as a driver. You're guessing. Life at Mercedes has been like a box of chocolates per Forrest Gump. You don't know what you're going to get on turning. Not a good look. So push rods at the back. Funny, this extended exhaust looks bonkers, doesn't it? It looks like something from Fast and Furious. Hopefully, though, they would have crafted that. And again, I'm assuming that this is a real car and this is what they're going to be running at Bahrain. I wouldn't put it past Mercedes to be calling everybody's bluff, as they did a couple of years back with the side pod design. That exhaust looks like something from Fast and Furious, doesn't it? Listen, if it works, I don't care. I don't care about the aesthetic. Nobody will. A sexy car is always a fast car. But the exhaust looks bonkers the way they've extended it right. But again, I imagine that will be with a view to optimize for clean airflow through to that wing beam so it can work its aerodynamically efficient magic. Here is hoping. And then you've got this overbite that Dr. Robs keeps talking about. Side pods. So we have ourselves a side pod. However, you can't really see too much from that render, can you? I want to try and get a different render and have another look. See if I can... it's a bit dark, that one, and you can't really see it too well. As the... we've got better renders. Oof, this doesn't look too bad. I always find it weird the way that the render looks better than the video. How weird is that? Right, let's get this going. Different render on. See if we can see anything else that's worth us talking about. Happy Friday, by the way, guys. It's going to be a wet Friday. Did he say Friday? Look at that. Cameron doesn't even know where he is. Wednesday. And I'll do the Red Bull one. It's 15th, isn't it? It's tomorrow. Right, let's get this one up there. And then we can have a look. You always want to be dealing with the proper pictures, right? Because sometimes you just can't. It's difficult to see. Okay, let's go. All right. Different picture, different render. What are we seeing here then? Same sort of thing, right? The front nose, really, really important. It's disconnected from the front wing to optimize for the Venturi tunnels. Interesting. Oh, it just looks like Red Bull, doesn't it? The side pod portion of it. I mean, lift and drop from Red Bull, and I don't hate that at all. Optimize. If you know there's an optimal solution, like Toto Wolff says, right, the stopwatch never lies, and Red Bull have been nailing these guys for the past 24 months. So, do you know what I mean? Copy. The greatest designers don't borrow, they steal. And I don't hate it. That, the underbody, the under portion of the side pod looks a lot like, it just looks like a lift and drop from Red Bull, doesn't it? And that makes me happy, I can't lie, because there is a solution. And as a design, as a technical director, trend towards a solution, innovate for it, understand it, as Baxty and Shez put it so eloquently on last night's Shakedown. You can't just copy without understanding. That makes no sense. But copy and plagiarize. You've seen the underbelly of Checo Perez's car, so steal and borrow. And they have done that with the underneath portion of this side pod. And now, of course, they have side pads. And I'm not mad at that. Let's get it. Too proud and technically arrogant for too long have Mercedes been. The boys at Brackley and Brixworth have they've learned, and I'm happy, because they needed to learn. If Lewis Hamilton has a chance of winning the 8th, or George Russell has a chance of winning his first championship, then they needed to do that. So underbelly side pods are in place. Red Bull aggressive undercut of the side pod also in place. Let me move this up, see if there's anything else that I spot. It looks a bit sexy from this angle, doesn't it? See what I'm saying about the render being very different to the video? Maybe we'll watch the video back again in a second, and then I'll close. And it looks like they've got an overbite as well. I need to get somebody else who's aerodynamically more adept than me to explain this overbite that people keep talking about around the under portion of the side pod. And again, you got this weird portion at the back skirts, right? That's what they're still aiming for. Remember, ground effects back in the day when skirts were allowed, you optimize for the underflow through the Venturi tunnels by just having skirts. Because then you optimize for the pressure, the air pressure underneath the car, and that gives you the downforce, right? Low pressure underneath, high pressure over the top, and that's where you get the most downforce. You do that by having skirts, but they were outlawed. Can't have skirts anymore, can you? Oh dear, peddlers. I hope interestingly that they've got the number 63 on there, haven't they, rather than the number 44. I think that's as clear a signal that they're going to prioritize George Russell this year. And why would you not expect them to? Right, like, do you know what I mean? They have to. That you wouldn't expect any different. Lewis is off next year, and so they would be mad not to prioritize. And listen, Lewis evangelists are going to lose their marbles, right, when they see George Russell start to get precedence, start to get preferential treatment as far as the strategy. But those of you who've been watching a few years know this game. This has always been the way. It has always been the way. What's going on, Kenny? Gun barrel is still on there on the actual car. Is it? Oh, yeah, I can see it. It's a good shout. So by the gun barrel, Ken was talking about this piece. So remember I was saying earlier that Red Bull have stolen a piece of Mercedes car last year, just under the 63. If you scan left, you can see there's this element of the back portion of the car that's protruding. It looks like a gun barrel, and it looks like actually that they're feeding air through that. That's where the exhausts are going through, right? And again, hopefully with a view to optimize for the bloody for clean, not dirty, clean air going through the back of that wing beam. Because again, I will state for the avoidance of doubt, reiteration time, 2 portions of air flow are really important. The first and most important, Venturi tunnels underneath the car. It's ground effect here, and no longer are you able to manually clip downforce onto the car. It doesn't work like that. You need an aerodynamically efficient platform, and to do that, you need to fuel. You need to push clean air through those Venturi tunnels so that the downforce sections can work its magic. Secondly, you need clean airflow going through to the rear wing beam. You know that portion underneath. You can't see it from this angle. I might try and get another cheeky render, but the portion underneath the rear wing, if you're getting dirty air through there that's not optimized, that's when you start to get that instability. And because they didn't have side pods, and because their car was low rake as opposed to the high rake, fundamentally aerodynamically efficient Red Bull design. There's a lot of words in there, Cameron. Basically, I say all that to say this. Aerodynamically, Red Bull, prior to the new rules and regs, their setup, high rake, aerodynamically efficient, suited the regs. They didn't have many changes to make. Mercedes, on the other hand, had always done it. So they were an engine merchant. They had a brake horsepower advantage. Add to that the fact that they were almost tacking on downforce rather than going with a fundamentally aerodynamically efficient package. And that's why they lost the massive gap. They tried to roll forward the design philosophy that didn't work for these new rules and regs. But I digress. 2 legs to the airflow. First, you've got to nail the Venturi tunnels underneath, and then you've got to feed good airflow, good clean, not dirty, clean airflow optimized for the wing beam at the rear. And that's what Red Bull have done, right? That's what they've done, and that's what they've done really, really well. Hopefully this W15 hopefully they can nail it. Fingers crossed, touch wood. I don't know. Let me see if I can get a cheeky render. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the old I mean, you know, let me tell you how noddy I am, guys. I was all paying attention to the bloody body language. I wanted to see a longer video. I really, really did. I was all paying attention to the bloody body language of Lewis and George, bearing in mind that Lewis isn't going to be there in 2025. So it's a 15-minute video. Let's try and have a.
You know, Doug, ever since switching to work,
because I was just kidding. I mean, it's different, right? And even hearing Lewis talking about optimizing for the car and giving it the long-term PR perspective and all that, I was like, well, really? Can we even say that in good faith now, Lewis? And he's a brilliant PR man, he's Lewis. He always toes the party line, but I don't know, mate. You're at Ferrari next year, aren't they? Let's have a quick look at all right, W15 brakes cover. All right. And I missed the bloody start of it, didn't I? Oh my God, totally awkward situation. Mate, seen them stand up together. And again, this is the first time that we've seen them since the big announcement. Carlos Sainz has been doing the PR rounds yesterday with Charles Leclerc, talking about how he feels about it and all this, which I think is so harsh for Carlos Sainz. He's been disrespected, hasn't he? Massively. So harsh. Like, I mean, the disrespect. And he's not a bad driver, is he? Put some respect on Carlos Sainz's name. How very dare you? Right, let's get this going on in the background. We'll have a look at some body language, because I think that might be the salient point. Right, and then I'll run away and we can go and do some 272 if you're watching concurrently. Do me a favor and smash the like. Going to be doing this we're going to have to do it for Red Bull, aren't we? Because there are so many plot lines and narratives there. Christian Horner's going to show what's their body language going to be like. How is he going to look next to Max? Is Max even going to be there? And no, I've got the wrong bloody window up, haven't I? Right, let's have a look quickly. I'll have a quick flip through.
It's in Bahrain, just 17 days away. Toto, Lewis,
get George with the very guarded stance, hands locked. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, very busy winter. Obviously, it's going to be our last season with Lewis.
Oh, he's addressed at the outset. Bloody Nora.
Quick car, and then in the factory, hard working to deliver the product, which we shall see today how it goes.
and Lewis Toto mentioned it there.
Wow.
Last season with the team. I'd love to talk to you about your last few weeks and thoughts about the season ahead.
Yeah, well, it's obviously been emotional. It's very surreal to be here, given the.
Sorry, I'm skipping back and forth. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to go back and watch this and do a video because it's bonkers. The body language is chaos, isn't it? Lewis looks almost resigned, right? I bet if you were to ask Lewis Hamilton that I think he'd be desperate to expedite this. I think he would have loved to do Ferrari this year. That's my honest opinion. Just from his body language there. He doesn't want to, I mean, he's not got a lot of time left, has he? 3-4 years maybe max. George very guarded with his body language, protective over his current status as potentially number one in the Mercedes team, right? In the silver and black car. Right, peddlers, I'm going to run away. That has been a Mercedes reveal. I will be back whenever. Listen, we'll go half an hour before the Red Bull one, I promise, because the Red Bull one's going to be peak. Although, caveat that with this, I'm not sure whether we'll get a proper launch out of Red Bull. I'll be honest with you. It could be a bit of a damp squid, couldn't it? And they could play a joker. There are photos of Baxty B. What's going on, bro? Oh, what do you think, Baxty? What do you think, bro? And let's get a cheeky poll before I run away. Good looking Merkel now. That's not even the question that should be. I'm going to ask it anyway because we're talking aesthetics. The question that should be asking is, will it be fast? That's the proper question. But you know what, minor? You guys like it? 62%, 55% of you like the look of it. I just feel like it's a bit bitty, black and silver. Like, I don't know. Is it a? Yeah, just make it one colour and then undertones. Baxty's not feeling it. I didn't think you'd be liking it, Baxty, to be fair. Poor man's McLaren. What? Oh my God, I did not spot that. That is a brilliant analogy. Baxty BF1 on YouTube says, it's a poor man's West McLaren. Yeah, they've gone for that, haven't they? But they haven't done it as competently. Oof, I don't know. You know what, though, peddlers, I will leave you with this for all of this fades to black, quite literally. If that car can challenge Red Bull in 2024, we're going to have a fantastic season, right? Littered with politics and team orders and strategic wrangling and all this stuff. The year, of course, before Lewis Hamilton takes himself off to Maranello and drives himself a red car. It will be a techie season. The aesthetics will absolutely be lost in the roundings if that's a quick car. Oh my gosh, I pray to the racing gods that it is. But you know what? You never can tell with these things. Nobody has a God-given right to develop themselves a fast / championship winning car. And I don't know, that's probably the lesson to be learned from the past 24 months, eh? I'm hoping that they've optimized for the airflow through the Venturi tunnels and all the way back to the back of the car for the wing beam. That's going to be mission critical. If they haven't, then we're probably in for another Max Verstappen winning season. Dare I say, monotony. I don't know. Let me not even jinx it. Here's hoping. Anyway, guys, have a fantastic Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining the stream. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, do me a favour. Follow, 5-star rating in addition. I'll catch you on the next one. Go watch the shakedown on the Mothership channel. Cameron F1, wicked shakedown last night with Baxty B and Shez. As always, until next time.